Oh, well, I take my hat off to Chavez Jr. He's a legend in the sport of boxing. He's one of the guys that opened up the door for myself.
Showed up and let his balls hang and committed to it and just let his hands go. But even at his best, he didn't let his hands go a whole lot. But if he did, he could win this.
Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes. So that's, I'm still thinking that I'm better than Jake Paul.
Oh, well, I take my hat off to Chavez Jr. He's a legend in the sport of boxing. He's one of the guys that opened up the door for myself. But, of course, I'm still in tip-top condition, and he's a lot older now. Even when we was younger, that would have been a great matchup. But you just you never know. I heard that he posted us and talk about us doing a fight, but I'll be in a no-win situation if I did that.
So I'm here with Julio Cesar Chavez, and I have to ask the question, who would win in their prime? Julio Cesar Chavez versus Floyd Mayweather Jr.
Punto final, en su punto prime. Creo que hubiera sido una pelea difícil, complicada. Yo creo que en 140 libras, 135 libras, definitivamente le hubiera ganado yo. Le hubiera ganado. ¿Por qué? Porque ese era mi peso. Yo nunca pude marcar 147 libras. Peleé por el campeonato, pero no era mi peso, ¿me entiendes? Creo que en 135, 140 le hubiera ganado a Mayweather. Acuérdate que yo peleé con su tío y su tío fue el que lo enseñó, así que pues yo creo que yo le hubiera ganado.
Jake Paul has built a boxing career by shocking the world, but now he's stepping into the ring with someone who actually knows how to fight. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., the son of a legend and a former world champion. But let's not pretend this is a sure thing.
I love Chavez.
I love that dude. He's cool as fuck. I love that dude.
Okay, if he wins, what does it say?
Nothing. Chavez is gonna win.
What does that say if he beats Jake Paul?
Not much. Just a good win. A lot of millions of dollars, and then maybe do a rematch, which is badass. Make a lot of money.
I like it. He was a little listless. He can get listless, but he's big. He's schooled in boxing.
It just does nothing for me.
Yeah, it is a challenge though. It's a legit challenge, right? He's probably
he got his ass whooped. He got his ass whooped by Anderson Silva. Jake's already beat Anderson Silva, so it's like
if he shows up for the fight, if he's really training, he's fairly tough. How old is he now?
39.
Oh wow,
He's 40.
oh wow.
I don't think that one's gonna get big numbers. It's just like, all right, it's not a good next step. It's almost like he's going backwards.
But
now.
wouldn't you say it's a good challenge for him?
No,
He's going to beat him.
yes, no, it's not a good challenge because he already got his ass whooped by Anderson. It doesn't do much. I guess it keeps Jake active, and it's a boxer.
Yeah.
But the boxing, you're still gonna get validation from the boxing community, which is what he wants. It keeps him busy, I guess. So that's good.
The expectations,
A
lot of
and
pressure.
then, the pressure, and he got involved with drugs and this and that, and he seems like he's doing better and he's doing good, and I've seen him train lately. I've talked to the father, and he says, look, if my son shows up to the ring the way I've seen him in the last few months, I think he said like last 6-7 months, he goes, yeah, he's gonna knock out Jake Paul.
Wow.
I'm like, okay, I'm sure a lot of people would love to watch that and see that. So, don't miss the fight.
Yeah.
June 28th. It's going to be crazy. No, it is. I mean, because Jake Paul actually has, it's not that he has something to prove, but he actually can prove something here. Chavez Jr. went the distance with Canelo, right? In Canelo's prime. And so imagine if Jake Paul knocks out Chavez Jr., then what?
It's your first fight in 2.5 years.
Yeah.
When do you want to come back? Who do you want to fight?
Oh man, I don't care, Jake Paul?
You want Jake Paul next?
Yes, why not?
If he wins tonight,
Yes, I want.
you think you could beat him?
I'm better fighter than these opponents, so that's for sure.
Yes, Julio has the experience. Yes, he's fought Canelo Alvarez, but he's also been criticized for quitting mid-fight, showing up out of shape and fading early. If he doesn't take this seriously, Jake might walk away with another win and more credibility. Floyd Mayweather called Chavez Sr. a legend, but didn't hold back on Jake, calling him a YouTuber, not a real boxer.
Canelo back down and all that kind of stuff, but is this, another name that just, like I said, gives the detractors more feel for their fighter? Does this help Jake at all?
I don't think it's really going to help him that much. I mean, it will in the sense that he's fought a legitimate fighter that actually was a professional fighter and a world champion. But to get him after a 5-year layoff and him being inactive is almost just like fighting Mike Tyson.
Yeah. I mean, it's like the same thing. It's like an older guy past his prime who hasn't fought in a long time. I guess he doesn't have an MMA career behind him, so maybe that's a good thing, but it's a lot of the same thing that people have always complained about.
Yeah, but I think this is a fight that Jake can win.
A former champion sitting over here to the left with a big name. Does this signal to the boxing world that you're looking to get back on that championship path, the pursuit of a world title?
Yeah, look, I always said it. I'm going to fight really tough people, and I'm going to fight big money fights. This is prize fighting. And so I'm giving the fans what they want with every single fight, taking on tougher opponents, and this is just that.
I can't help but notice it's a cruiserweight fight. The co-main event is a cruiserweight world title. If you look just to your right, there are 2 belts sitting there on the stage. Is it at all in your mind, if you beat Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., that a matchup with that man, Zurdo Ramirez, might not be far behind?
Yeah, 100%, man. This is what I came here to do, is become world champion and to create one of the greatest sports stories the world has ever seen. Going from Disney Channel to YouTube to world champion in 6 to 7 years, that's the most relatable and best sports story that any kid can get behind, and that's what I'm here to do, is inspire the next generation and do what no one's ever done before in the world's hardest sport, which is boxing.
You faced some hostile environments in the past, the Nate Diaz fight being one of them, but this might be the most hostile you've walked into. Southern California, 2 Mexicans on the card. What do you think about fighting in this type of atmosphere?
Man, the Mexicans love me, bro. Like, I'm stepping into my home environment. They love me more than they love this guy. Mexico doesn't even claim him, so that's just the way it is, and I love my Mexican fans, and they've always been rocking with me since day one, and I'm going to show him who the real Mexican warrior.
Still, Jake's not just here to entertain anymore. He's talking about titles, legacy, history. Oscar De La Hoya says if Julio comes in prepared, Jake's in trouble. But even Julio's own fans are asking, will he show up ready?
Final What's That Smell goes to Jake friggin' Paul. Yes, as he's gearing up for his upcoming fight against Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., a guy that can't win a fight, hasn't won a fight in the last 10 years. The guy's been an absolute joke. Well, Jake comes out and says, hey, listen, I'm getting in the ring with a champion at one point. I'm getting in the ring with a guy that was on top of the world at one point. All Jake Paul is selling is at one point, because Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. hasn't won in more than 10 years of those points. What are you trying to sell? Here's what I think he's trying to sell. He's trying to sell a fight that means nothing. Jake Paul, he's great on the HBO special thing, the documentary that he has, The Pauls. He's great at everything he touches when it comes to marketing. Stop trying to sell something that doesn't exist. You will never get into a ring with a real boxer, because if you do, you're going to get your ass whipped.
What do you make of the trash talk he's been saying about you, that he feels you're going to quit, that he's going to turn you into a meme, that he's going to have your dad put his hands in his face? What do you make of all that talk from him?
Stupid people stuck, like everybody can say whatever you want, like he's nobody, man. He's like a popular social media guy and train hard. So if like Juan Manuel Marquez say something about myself, maybe I put attention on Marquez or Tyson or guys like that. But Jake Paul, man, he's living with this chat, like talk trash in media is his best, He's pound for pound number one.
Jake's smart. His team is even smarter. They've hand-picked opponents carefully. This one looks risky, but is it? If Julio wins, it could finally silence the circus. If Jake wins, he might actually earn the respect he's been chasing.
It could happen. This dude. I don't trust that guy. I don't trust Chavez. You're nothing like your daddy.
Yo, you just alienated. You say I don't trust that guy.
I don't. It's like, bro, I don't trust you, man. We seen too much of that quitting you.
He's got the quirky, the ugly stuff that'll get you by.
Chavez?
Yeah.
He still has a left hook for 2 rounds.
You said 2 rounds?
Yeah,
That's it?
It's fresh for 2 rounds. After that, the problem with Chavez Jr., if Chavez Jr. just showed up and let his balls hang and committed to it and just let his hands go, but even at his best, he didn't let his hands go a whole lot. But if he did, he could win this fight. Yeah. But he won't. That's not who he is. He has no confidence anymore. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. The minute he also loses so much steam after 2 rounds. He's kind of like Mike Tyson in a lot of ways. He loses steam after a round and a half. He has a left hook that you still have to it keeps you honest. You do have to worry about that left hook, especially early.
Yeah.
But like he just has no confidence anymore. The minute things start going south, the minute he gets touched, he just
looking for out.
Even if he's not, I think in this fight, he'll like Zab Judah used to do sometimes. He'll take his beating, but he won't let his hands go. And
I'm gonna speak a truth. I think this is my truth, and I'm just speaking candidly. You got a kid that's spoiled.
I respect all the fighters in general, but I don't have nothing significant to respect like Jake, like a good fighter. You know, he's a real fighter. I think so. He's a fighter now. You know, he have 11 fights. But that's it, you know, it's nothing special. He's strong, that's it.
Do you think he respects you?
In what way? I don't understand.
You know, at the press conference, you know, he was trying to get under your skin a little bit, and he's known to do that, right? He tries to trash talk. He was talking to your father and all that. And so I was wondering if you felt disrespected or upset about anything that he said in the press conference.
Yes, a little bit disrespect because he's supposed to try to enter to a real boxing, you know. That's why he started me because I'm ex-world champion. So he speak too much trash, you know, and try to sell the fight, but I don't like hear that things, you know, like, I don't know, Jake is good for that, you know, for promote fights and these things, but I really want to find out if it's good boxing, for real.
So a lot of people who have fought Jake have tried to sort of, as I said, end Jake Paul, like end all of this. They don't like that he's in boxing. Is that a motivation for you to knock him out so that he says, I don't want to do this anymore, so you could be the one to say you got Jake Paul out of fighting?
Yes.
What's your take on Jake Paul versus Julio Cesar Chavez? Who wins? How does that pan out?
You know, people have this debate, you know, even for us, like, has he faced a real fighter yet? Has he faced a pro fighter yet? I think that it's a great startup to test the waters for Jake Paul. He finds a way to make it entertaining and execute. Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., I haven't seen him fight in a while. We'll see what he does. You know, I think this is going to be a good step up for Jake Paul, though, at the end. You know, and see if he's really serious about the boxing world. And I think he has been. You know, he's been showing that with MVP promotions, supporting the women's empowerment on that. Great. He's been really pushing it. So I think it's exciting for everybody. You know, may the best man win. And, you know, let's see what happens.
Breaking news, Jake Paul is going to be taking on former world champion Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. in a fight that I think is going to fool a lot of people. Now, what do I mean by fool a lot of people? What I mean is people are going to, on paper, look at this and be like, oh, Jake Paul gets schooled here, gets schooled here. Chavez Jr. is 39. He was not known as a very disciplined boxer during his prime. That's one of the reasons he had such a heavy decline. He's also a lot smaller than Jake Paul. What I will say about Jake Paul is he is a genius, or his team and management are geniuses at giving him opponents that people on paper look at and be like, oh, Jake Paul's not a real fighter. He won't be able to beat this guy. This is very, 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 very minimal risk for Jake Paul. The only factor that could come into play here is if Chavez Jr. decides he actually wants to show up properly for this fight, conditioned, and use his experience to win. But Jake Paul, for me, and his team have been very, very careful about who they matchmake him against ever since the Tommy Fury fight. You know, ever since here, we haven't seen him in there with someone his own age, his own weight, and his own sort of experience. For me, if Jake Paul wants to be a YouTube boxer still, and he wants to be considered an influencer boxer, matchmaking him against these guys that on paper, oh, this is a big challenge for Jake Paul, in reality, not really, is okay. But I think if Jake Paul actually is what he says he wants to be, and he wants to make that step up, man, he's going to have to take risks.
This isn't just a fight. It's reputation versus redemption, legacy versus marketing, old school versus new era.
June 28th could be the night boxing takes back its name or loses it for good. Subscribe now, because this fight might rewrite the rules.